Dei is essentially about the initial coming together of two opponents. So the nukitsuke, the initial draw, is the most important part in Dei. Starting from taito, the sword in the obi, each one steps forward with the hand coming to the tsuka, stepping across with the left foot and beginning the draw and threatening the opponent. As uchitachi steps in, shitachi steps back and receives the cut. Having applied pressure here, uchitachi steps back into kasumi no kamae, chudan kasumi, and shitachi into jodan. The kisaki is now on the line of his center line. As I step forward, I'm going to thrust right toward his neck, stepping across with the right foot, then a stutter step, left foot, right foot. Shitachi then steps offline and cuts to uchitachi's neck. Uchitachi lowers the sword, steps back, and matches Shitachi's chudan no kamae. Both lower the sword and step back at the same time. Dei. Hey. Yeah. Dei. Hey. Yeah. Ukenagashi is practiced from an initial draw in the batoho section. The first attack by uchitachi is actually a yokouchi monji. So if you follow along, you'll notice you're actually going to receive the technique in a vertical block that covers from the hip to the head on this one if you're taking the shitachi part. So we start from taito, swords in the obi, stepping forward with the right foot, left hand comes up, then stepping with the left foot crossing, beginning to threaten with the draw, and remembering that the skagashire is online. Uchitachi steps forward and cuts yokouchi monji and is blocked vertically by Shitachi's sword, running from his hip to above his head. The pressure on the sword makes me step back and retreat to a hasso position, and that is mirrored then by Shitachi. Notice that the sword is at an angle of a 45, so that the skagashire is pointing toward the opponent's toe. As Uchitachi steps in, he cuts directly down the center on a little yoko, a little bit of a kesa cut, and that's matched as Shitachi steps back. Notice Shitachi's kisaki is now online. This prevents Uchitachi from moving in any further. And the pressure from the hip makes Uchitachi step back, again, cutting, this time left to right. On this side of the sword, my kote, my wrist, is much closer to Shitachi's than it was on the other side, which makes me move backward because this is now unprotected. So I have to move this out of the way into a jodan position. At this point, Shitachi moves his sword offline to invite the attack. And this is where, when Uchitachi steps in, the ukenagashi that you had learned occurs. Stepping in, cutting, he receives, releases, and cuts to my head. I step back, continuing to threaten my center. I raise the sword and match on the omote side of the sword. We lower the swords and come to a neutral position. Ukenagashi. Hey! Ukenegashi. Hey! 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 Hey!